it mixes. I'm sorry. Listen, everybody, I'm still new at work in the StreamYard. So I was kind of talking to myself for a while. But let me go back in case it worked for one place and not the other. The Power of Women is one of the books I'm currently reading. And it's by Dennis Musquich. Sorry, it's not clear. Let me just put the light off of it a little more. But this is a powerful book. So powerful. I learned that this author is a doctor, and he has had to operate on lots of women. And it was because they were damaged because the war that was going on, Congo being the rape capital, the war that's going on there or was going on there, maybe still going on in certain places, damaged a lot of women, and it was called something called a fistula damage. Now, I am not an expert. I am not somebody who has studied this a long period of time, but I have spoken with women who have suffered. And forgive me, but this topic may be triggering. Um, so that I want to warn you now. Some of the things I want to discuss is going to be uncomfortable and triggering. So please bear with me as we go through this. The problem is, too many of us do not like to talk about topics like this. It makes us uncomfortable. At the same time, we're allowing it to continue to happen by not speaking up. When you expose those things that is supposed to be kept hidden, that's when it's hard for those people to continue to do those things. Um, just like roaches, if they're in the dark, they're okay. They can continue to do what they're doing. Any critter, they're more comfortable in the dark. So when you expose that light on them, it'll make it very, very difficult for them to do wrong. They don't want that to be something that's put out there. So that's my granddaughter in the background. She's excited. Um, so that's why I wanted to bring this to your attention. And I'm hoping, I'm hoping that this reaches someone who's able to discuss it. I know it's uncomfortable. I know. And I can't say that I have had the experience. I don't have a guest this week. And next week, I most likely won't be having a guest. However, I'm going to continue to show up because I know many of you who do listen to me, even if you don't listen to me live, if hopefully you go back and listen to this, I want to encourage you to do your best to work on being able to expose those who harm, who cause harm. Because if you notice, once you start speaking up about an abusive person, no matter what the abuse is, it's going to upset them, especially if you're with them when you talk about it. And I don't want anybody to be in any danger physically where you would possibly, have your life harmed or physically or even death come upon you. Please do not do that. But if you are feeling bold enough, brave enough to come forth and speak about what's happening to you, then by all means, I encourage you to do so. And I'm speaking this because it came to mind about the R. Kelly verdict. There were a lot of people who were very adamant about the women who came forth and said they were saying outright that these women weren't harmed. They're just jumping on the bandwagon to um, be a part of everything that's being said, and they want money. I mean, that may be the case for some of them. However, I'm pretty sure all of those women weren't doing that same thing. So I'm saying all this to say exposure. Exposure is pertinent when it comes to dealing with people who are trying to harm you, no matter what the physical, mental, emotional, financial, digital harm is. They don't want to be exposed. That's how they continue to do what they're doing. Now, this book, let me just go back to this book. I'm going to be going back and forth between the R. Kelly verdict, and we know there are so many more people out here that are causing harm, raping, incest, sexual violations, whatever term you want to put it out there as, um, is happening. So let's just put that there. It's happening. And it is uncomfortable to discuss it, but we need to, because incest is real. People are being raped in their own family. And back to, let me go back first, back to the R. Kelly situation, where I was told, you know, these women just want to jump on the bandwagon and get paid. Where were these kids' parents, these young girls? And it just really messes with my spirit when people want to blame the victim. I don't understand that. You got little girls who aren't fully developed all over their body, let alone their brains. And they're here trying to figure their lives out and believing in what I spoke about weeks ago, the fairy tale of a love, finding that love, and certain men, and let's add the pimps in there too, because they're in there too, with causing violations to young girls. That's where they go, most likely, to the people who have low self-esteem, the young girls who aren't fully developed and excited about the love. And oftentimes the girls don't get the love and affection they need at home. So when somebody outside the home is showing them that love and affection and attention and saying those wonderful things to make them feel good, what are they doing? Goo goo and hee hee ha ha. It makes them feel good. I mean, who doesn't like to feel good? And when you're not aware of what it is that these people are doing to you, once again, it's like this secret society. I've heard, watch documentaries, and I've heard pimps say they are looking for that one who whose self-esteem is so shot, and they can look and tell from looking at their body language. That was a shocker for me. When a person who is on a prowl and they're looking for a prostitute, forgive me, sex worker, whatever term you choose to use, these people are seeking who they may devour. The Bible tells us about that. For my Bible people, the Satan is walking to and fro, seeking who he may devour. And when he picks the one that he can destroy, he's happy about it. Think about that. There are people out here happy about destroying other people. It's real, y'all. It's real. And yeah, we could go ahead and blame the victim all day long. We could go ahead and blame the parents for these young girls not being brought up right. But then what about those who are at home being molested in the home? Or what about when parents believe that the uncle, the brother, the grandfather, the grandmother, the mother, from what I'm hearing now, women are doing it too, molesting those kids in the home? My God, I could take this conversation in all kinds of directions. I really can. So I'm going to go back to, let's stop blaming the victim. Everybody wants to say, oh, well, she shouldn't have been wearing those tight clothes or that little bitty skirt or showing all her body and all of this. And a lot of people, let me go back to, a lot of men believe that the women are dressing for them to catcall and hoot and hollering and trying to get attention. And that's not always the case. Oftentimes, women wear what's comfortable for them. Women want to be in a position where they feel confident about themselves, regardless of what they're wearing. And I hear people say all the time, well, if you see a person in a police uniform, then what? You gonna think it must be a police officer, right? But just because a person is wearing something that you feel is too revealing, because remember, that is your opinion. Yeah, and at the end of the day, it is still your opinion. Somebody may feel good about what they're wearing and not even care about what somebody else is thinking, but because somebody else is feeling like, oh, she's hot, let me see what I can get out of this one. Then there goes the violation, the cat calling, the hooting and the hollering. Yeah, not everybody wants that, and not everybody deserves that. If you could just keep your opinion to yourself sometimes, it would be okay. You don't have to respond how you feel, because based on how somebody's dressed. Now, I want to also add too, sometimes ladies knowing that some men are the way they are. Some men are going to be grungy. Let me put that out there. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to be gaining some enemies and possibly losing some friends, or losing some friends and gaining some enemies. However, losing enemies, I don't care however I put it, whatever we look at it, whatever way we look at it. It's happening. And I just recently looked up this thing called rape culture. It's a rape culture, and that's where we normalize people being raped. And it just makes my skin crawl. Makes my skin crawl thinking that a woman could be raped, and then the way society choose, or the government choose in certain countries, the man who raped her, in order for him to not be convicted of jail time, he needs to marry her. It's a law that's called marry the victim. And this is just taking me back to something I discussed with someone before. They said, this thing when you're in the church, specifically the Church of God in Christ, they believe, you shouldn't shack up and live together without being married. But people are doing it anyway. People are shacking up without being married anyway. I'm not condoning it. I'm not putting it down. That's your choice. But the thing for me is, if a person is getting beat and they're living in a home with their abuser, why would you continue to encourage them to marry the person? That one right there just blew me away when I heard somebody say that. Like, oh boy, oh, they need to get married. Oh, uh, they're living in sin, even though her eye is black. Really? I just couldn't get that. I couldn't understand that. So, yeah, I'm just like, I'm at a loss of words, because there's so much that we need to really, really consider big time when it comes to this type of culture. Anyway, yeah, um, I'm just trying to. I'm sorry, I'm texting at the same time. I got a little dilemma happening right now. Um, yeah, got a little dilemma happening right now. I'll get to that. I want to finish this conversation, because you know what? This needs to be discussed right here, right now. I'll work on that dilemma when I get to it. But anyway, back to what I was saying. It's not okay to let these rapists slide. Not at all. If you're in a position to help me to discuss this, whoever you are, my goal is for next month to have someone on the show, some people on the show, to be able to cover so many different topics, to share their life, because this is something that needs to be discussed. One of the things that need to be discussed. So heartbreaking, that people are living in fear. One of the things, that was brought up whenever, anytime a person is raped, men get raped too. Let me put that out there. Sexually raped. But there are so many various forms of rape. But I'm just wanting to highlight the sexual part. Um, One of the things that happen is, it's a fear, it's a shame that comes over, from what I've heard. I'm telling you what I heard because I've never had this actually happen to me directly in a sexual way. Not in a way where uh, I was penetrated, physically penetrated. So I'm just trying to not trigger at the same time, bring it out. Um, but the thing that I wanted to say is from what I've heard, there's much shame whenever a person has been raped. They don't want to talk about it, it's uncomfortable for them. And um, it takes time before they even go in, and then the evidence is like gone. So that's one topic that's really hard to discuss from what I've been told or from what I've learned. Very uncomfortable. There have been victims who have gone home and washed themselves several times because they were disgusted. I can only imagine what that's like to have to live in such a way where you can't talk about it because of the shame and even possibly the guilt because you're feeling like it's your fault. Um, I don't know what that's like, but I'm hoping and praying that somebody will be willing to come and talk about it because somebody needs to hear your story, need to know what it is that they can do to make themselves feel better. You know how many people are suffering from mental illnesses, depression, anxiety because of somebody's violating them. Somebody has violated them. And it's heartbreaking. It truly is heartbreaking. So when I learned that The Power of Women, this book right here, when I learned that Congo was the rape capital of the world, I was like, you know what? There's a lot of work that needs to be done out here because nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to discuss it. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality of life. Um, I wanted to display the hotline up here for those of you who may need to call this number. And it's for the rape, abuse, and incest. It's a national network, no matter where you are throughout the nation. You can make that call or even go on a website, centers.reign.org, to see what they have to say. You know what else is unfortunate is a person who has been raped in certain countries, certain states, counties have a limitation. There's so many years you have before you can say anything. And so many people have chosen to their death not to say anything about what happened to them. And it's sad because there's a situation where there was war, even in the book that The Power of Women, and a woman was like 96 years old, and all she wanted was an apology because the government kept denying the fact, I believe it was in Japan, kept denying the fact that the soldiers were raping the women. And all she wanted was an apology. She was hurting. But she went to her deathbed not getting that apology. Imagine how many people are living like that, living with that hurt, with that crisis of their mentality, their mindset, not being able to get the help they need. We have to do better, people. My prayer is more can speak out, more people can speak out even before it happens, because it seemed to really hit our teenagers more than anything. And with the sex trafficking is another whole nother way of now of getting sex workers to do stuff. Yeah. I mean, and I just want to say, I understand some people have had to be sex workers for a living. I get that. I do understand that. Um, so I remember some years back when my mom was talking about how she migrated from the South. And, back when slavery was just ending and things like that, she said to me, a lot of people were choosing different types of work. So my mom chose domestic work where she would go into a white family's home and watch their children and clean. That was always her way of making a living, taking care of other people's children. Um, but she said to me, and she said it with pride, she said, I am grateful that I never had to sell my body. Now, I didn't get that when she said it. I was confused. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, I didn't understand it, so to speak. Um, but I get it now. I get it now because, being in the black, being a former slave or uh, already, at the bottom of, excuse me, at the bottom of the totem pole for income, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle for our people to make it. So when my mom told me that, she said, I never had to sell my body. It just kind of left the impression on me. Sorry, I'm dehydrating. That's what shedding tears would do sometimes if you didn't have enough water. But when she said that to me, I never had to sell my body. She said it with such pride. I didn't get it because there were so many women who had to do that for a living. That was something they needed to do because there was no other type of forms of income. There was no type of education, no type of experiences. So that was a whole era of where there were whole towns, red districts, black districts throughout the U.S. where um, people had to, women had to sell their bodies. And there are male sex workers as well. Um, People really have to do what they have to do. And I get that. But, you know, if we could do something to stop this thing called rape culture, stop allowing our women, our girls, our young girls need to stay safe, be in a position to speak out. No more fear. That's what holds everything up. Living in fear. If we could get that boldness, instill that into our young people. Imagine how much less harm can be done in society. Yeah, I just needed to say that, bring this out. It was in my spirit today to talk about it. I was going to talk more about the R. Kelly situation, but you can see about that on the news. It's all in the news about his situation, how he tried to shut people up, paying people off. And some parents, well, yeah, some parents didn't even want the situation brought out about their child being treated as they were. But it happens. Things are happening and somebody need to speak up about it. Somebody do. Now I'm going to go to the comments now. Oh, yes, yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Annalika. Yes, I am. I am an empath, as the term is called. I am passionate about a lot of stuff, which is why I became a writer, because a lot of things I couldn't say verbally. At least I couldn't say it to certain people. I was really talked about and what I guess belittled because of my compassionate heart, and being a compassionate person to the wrong people, that could really cause some more problems for you. I'm sure many of you would be able to relate. Certain things you just cannot talk to people about because they will use it against you and and try and destroy you with it. So, yeah, when you have a kind heart, you got to be very careful. You wear your heart on your sleeve, you got to be careful. But yes, that's where I am today, thinking back on things that were said to me, specifically by my mom, and the things that I'm seeing today, still seeing today, and reading about, and hearing about, and learning about. It's all out there. We need to try and do better to make things happen in a better way for society as a whole. It's just this thing about good versus evil. I choose good. I always want to do the right thing, regardless of who is and who is not looking. That's my choice. And if you're on board with me, I would love to hear from you anytime. Um, you're welcome to join me in these forces of changing, making things happen, breaking generational tradition is my goal. No more staying quiet. No more living in fear. Let's make it happen, people. I just wanted to come on here and share this with you. I will be posting throughout the week. So you'll be hearing more from me on my pages. But right now, I think I have pretty much covered much of what I wanted to say. And I'll be back for more to say. That's for sure. I guarantee you that as long as I have breath in my body, there will be discussions about those uncomfortable topics that should be discussed more, which people don't like to talk about, will be definitely something that'll be done right here at Share My Life in We Win Queendom. So if you or someone you know have a story about something that happened that was devastating to you and or loved your loved ones, but you bounce back, becoming even better and living your best life, sharing your life could help save someone else's who may be experiencing something similar to you. Send a message to me on Facebook or Instagram directly to me, Marvina Sims. Remember, our goal is to expose, empower, and impact to save lives. Before we end the show, I am asking each of you, please sign up on my website, www.marvinasims.com, and feel free to purchase my books while you're browsing. I need you also to find and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat. That would be at Marvina Sims, and you can probably Google in We Win Queendom. If you Google or in or type in We Win Queendom or Marvina Sims is where I'm going with this. You will definitely get me. My face is on there, so it shouldn't be hard to spot me. And then my final ask is that you value and take good care of yourself, which can only be done with love. You got to love yourself, people. You got to love yourself. Just think about this. Whatever way you are feeling love for the one that you really love, it doesn't matter who it is, try and target that towards yourself. See how much of a difference that makes in helping your self-esteem rise and that confidence increase. I'm not just telling you what I heard or read this time. I'm telling you what I've experienced, what I know. My final ask is that you go ahead and tune in every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time to watch Share My Life TV. Now, this may be changing soon. I'll get back to you on it. I'm working on some things and trying to get some things done. So I'm going to make a determination how I want to go. But when it's time for a change, you will know. I will be making that an announcement. But anyway, on that note, I am Marvina Sims, author, advocate, empowerment coach, and queen goddess warrior of We Win Queendom. My spirit showed up here today to either irritate, eradicate, or edify yours. Brittle Never Broken is not only the title of my impactful memoir, but it is the experiences of all of our victorious lives. This is a daily reminder to those in need all over the globe. You were born for a time such as this. Only you get to decide what the this is for you. Remember, you deserve the best, which is why you should only be accepting words of encouragement and uplifting attitudes via validation, confirmation, and revelation. Hope to see you right back here on next Sunday on Share My Life TV. God bless and enjoy this beautiful, blessed new day. Take care, everyone. Mwah.